folks, welcome back. Dr. D in a Dungeon here in the library. Figured I'd kind of walk you through the part-to-part process of designing this. We're working on the top piece of our portable light and camera charger, and so we're going to just kind of walk you through how this works. Give you some of the ins and outs of DraftSight. As I logged in this morning, there's a new version of DraftSight. I did not upload that yet because sure as the world they'll change something and then I'll look like a fool. But anyhow, so I'm going to bring you in a little closer so you can kind of see what's going on here in just a moment. So anyhow, I've got, this is my piece that gosh dang it. Everything's always easy till you're on camera and then it gets... Yeah, this is the piece that I had cut earlier, and I just went and before I sat down here, I checked the dimensions on, this was one of the early cuts on the bottom, and it's close, but it's probably about 2% underside to fit at the level of depth that I want in the top. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to scale this up, and I think 2% will probably do it. 1% might do it, but we'll do 2%. I can always scale it back down. And then I'll go ahead and start putting rough dimensions for our different chargers on there so that they will actually sit just like on the tray in the bottom of the charger. So they'll sit proud of that, but they'll be wedged in there, and so they'll be captured essentially. All right, and I'll bring you back up closer here to the thing. All right, let's see. If you can see that clearly or not, I think so. Glare is not going to help, is it? There we go. I'll try not to get my fat head in the way. Alright, so first thing we got to do, if you're using DraftSight itself, it really helps to have a file that has all of your line types set up, and then so you should be able to see on here that I've got a panel area here in the green that it just gives me kind of an idea dimensionally and spatially as I'm putting this together. I think that is 24 by 36. I don't remember. I can tell you. What is it, dude? $18. All right. So probably 18 by 24. Yeah, 18 by 24. So what this does is it allows me to, the bed of my laser cutter is much larger than this. I can do a full 48-inch across, and I'm not sure if I can get 40 deep, but I can actually open it up. I could put a 4x8 sheet of material in there and cut on it, but I'd have to shift it up if I were going to do the whole 8 foot. And there are ways to do that, and so that you get repeatability and that you are able to continue your pattern on. But that's neither here nor there. So again, I also have grid turned on. I think a 1/2 inch spacing. And again, this is just all for spatial referencing. But most importantly out of this is that I have line type set up. All right, and so the line types that I use the most are construction, engrave, and vector cut, and then the panel is a permanent line type, which is what this green type is. And again, that's just a reference for me. All right, so vector cut allows me to, whatever I want to make a cut on in the material, I'll draw that with a vector cut, and then when I upload it to the laser cutter, I take that color of line and then I set the parameters for that cut. And then I have an engrave, which, you know, again, is a different color. So I've set it up on green, and then, you know, when I upload the whole file to the laser cutter, I can go in and I can select those colors and change the parameters to do what I want it to do. If I want a deep engrave or a light engrave, if I'm cutting plastic, if I'm cutting cardboard, if I'm cutting whatever, you know. So it allows me to differentiate the cuts that the laser is doing. And then construction, and I used to have a def points on there, but I just use construction as a reference line, and I can turn any of those off. So I'll turn the panel layer off right now, and so whoop, it went away. All right, and I can do that in a laser cutter as well. I can hide line types. I can still see line types but not process those line types. There's a lot of different parameters that we can work with. All right, so if you start your drawing process with a drawing template that you already have your line type set, you've got your grid set, you've got your panel layer set, it makes life easier. Otherwise you have to recreate that every time that you log in. All right, and so normally I'll just go ahead and open that up. In this particular case, I'm not going to use that file yet, but probably when I start transferring things over, I will. All right, let's see. Okay, so let's open up another file. All right, let's see. Let's see. That's the latest version of that. Nope, that's not what I want. Dang it. Bottom tray. There we go. All right, so there we go. So let's start with that, and let's go ahead and let's hide the engrave layer, and then really all I care about for this is this outer. Alright, so I'm just going to select it. You can see that it highlighted, and then I'm going to do a Control C. I can see Control C, and then I'm going to go over to this drawing template, and then I'm going to Control V, and there it is. Alright, and I'll just set it in there. And so this down here is my origin on my machine, and I'll set it semi-close to that. I like to give myself a little bit of room on both sides, on the X and Y, just because sometimes the material that I'm using doesn't have really great straight edges on it, and so this gives me a little bit of room to fix that. Alright, so there we go. Now I need to go ahead and rename this. So I'm going to do File, Save As, and what do I want to call this? Let's call it Top Tray. What the heck? So, Top Tray. Can't see. And we'll do this Revision 1. Revision 1. Alright. Okay, so now that's saved. Really don't need anything else off of this file, I don't believe, so we'll go ahead and close it out. No, I don't want to change that. Alright, and so now we're back to this. Alright, so to start with, you know what? I can do offset lines on this, so now it'll give me a better... So I'm going to go do that. I'm going to go measure the distance on that, and I'll come back. So, be right back. Maybe. Oh, come on. Where's the freaking button at? Alright, so here we go. And I already did this, but I'm just doing it for you. So what I'm doing is I'm basically setting up a datum point here, and I'm, you know, what's the distance there? And it's roughly 200 thousandths on that side, and then actually that's 150. Yeah, 150. So, you know, that's going to get me pretty darn close. And again, this tapers as it goes in just a little bit. So, you know, if I'm off just a little bit, it gives me some playroom. And again, if it's not right, then I'll go ahead and scale it. But I'm just going to add offset lines by 75 thousandths. Here we go. All right, so here we go. Yeah, I've got that selected already, and I'm going to do offset lines. I've been offset in 0.075. Specify side per dimension, and there we go. So I'll go ahead and delete the original. Oops, maybe I will. Select and delete. All right, and so now we are 75 thousandths on both sides, all four sides, and so this will give me something that's pretty close. It may not be exact, and again, you know, I can always scale it back up. But what I'm going to do next is I'm going to actually draw. I'm going to start taking the dimensions for these chargers, and I'll start plugging and playing them on there. And actually, what I need to do is I need to go to the other cutout that I did, and I need to take the dimensions on that so I can mark off the area that I have. So let me go find that, and then I'll come right back. All right. So basically what I did is I just measured out, you know, I've got this hand cut piece, and I measured out, and I got a 9-inch, and I think this is 7. Let's move this stuff out of the way. 7 will work. It's actually a little less than 7, but I left some play in there. So 9 by 7. All right. So let's go back up here. And I think that you can see that okay. All right. And so what I'm going to do, and I'm just going to do this in a construction, because it's solely a reference. It allows me to know where I can't put stuff. And so, and I talked a little bit about why I like this program so much. It has its limitations. It does have some 3D capability, and you know, it does have some limitations. There's some things that just don't work or don't work well. But when I learned AutoCAD back in the early 90s, it was released, AutoCAD released 10, I think, and there wasn't much of a graphic user interface. And so, you know, I wound up, I learned using command line prompts. And so that's how I think when I do CAD design. And you'll hear me talking, you know, and rectangle and line and offset. You know, I've used this enough that I know what the next thing it's going to ask me is. Okay, and so that's, you know, it's not a super powerful program, but it's a program that I like because it works the way that I think. And I do use Fusion 360 as well, and sometimes I struggle with Fusion. But that it is what it is. So anyhow, all right, let's get back on to what we're doing here. Bring that up. All right. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to type in rectangle, enter, and it's going to ask me to specify a start point. It doesn't matter where I do it. I'm just going to do it there, and then I can just give a dimensional variant for it. And so, and I did 7 by 9, so 7 wide. So it's asking for the horizontal, which is 7 inches, and then now it's asking for the vertical, which is 10 inches, and boom, there it is. All right, you notice that's in our construction line. Now I'm just going to move it. It's going to ask me where I want to move it from, and think I'm just going to do that, and I'm going to move it over here. So this is one of the, I'm going to set it there, and then I didn't pick a very good place to move it from. Alright, now I'm going to turn ortho on because I've got it, get off there. So this is ortho, which means it only moves in right angles. And then, alright, so there's a visual reference of what I have to work with on the program. Alright, and so I'm just going to leave that in construction, and that will allow me to see it, and then I can turn that on and off as I need, but everything else I'm going to be doing in the vector cut layer. Alright, and I just turn everything off, escape, 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 and then, alright, so the first one we're going to look at would be this, and all I'm doing is measuring with a set of calipers. And again, this has got a bit of a draft to it. It's got a draft angle to it. So right there, it is 3 inches and 900 thousandths. Okay, so that's helpful. All right, so, and I like to just write these dimensions down as I go because it's easy to forget. All right, and so I just freehand. This desk isn't big enough. I love this desk, but it's just not big enough. Alright, so I'm going to have a rectangle. Alright, and this vertical dimension was 3.9. Alright, cool. And then the horizontal distance at the same place, I've got 3.795, we'll call it 3.8. So it's almost square, but not quite. All right. So 3.8. All right. And I got 2 of those to do. So again, we're going to use that rectangle command. Let me get back up here so you can see what we're doing. Yep. So we're going to use that rectangle command again. And again, I can just do this anywhere, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to do dimensions because I know what my dimensions are. My horizontal is a 3.8, and then the vertical is a 3.9. Awesome. Alright, so there we have it. Alright, and this has got a fairly rounded corner on it, and so I need to adjust that radius. And man, actually, you know what, if I look down where I want this to be, there's really not much of a radius here, so I'm not even going to radius it. I'm gonna cut it like that, and then I may add a radius later. So let's move that. I got to turn ortho off, and then let's grab it in the center there, and I want to go down here. Alright, and so I don't have any set dimension that I've moved that to. I'm just looking at spatial relationships, right? And so I'm adding a bit of a buffer here to allow for strength of the materials that'll be in there, as well as I've got this corner that's got a pretty big arch in the bottom of it, and so I don't want to be right on top of that because then this won't actually sit up. In fact, I might have to move that up a little bit, but we'll adjust that on revision 2 or 3. All right, so I like that one, and there's 2 of those, right? So I can copy that, select it, copy, and then I am going to turn ortho back on, and I'm just going to grab it there and move over. And again, no set value there. I just got something that's spatially pleasing. All right. So now with that being said, I have this guy. This is for my big blue lights, and I'm going to measure it. So So my vertical dimension on it is, we got 4 and about 720 thousandths. Okay, so again, just a rough draft. 3 point, no, it was 4 something, wasn't it? Yeah, 4,720. 4.720. I'm here. Recording. Oh yeah, she's right there. She's right there. Come here, Luke. Alright, now I go to the other side, and that is pretty much 1.5 inches, so 1.5. Alright. Cool. Alright, back up to our drawing. So again, I use that rectangle command. Oops, what the heck happened? Alright, there we go. I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to specify this corner, and I'll show you why here in a minute. Alright, so I'm going to use dimensions. Alright, and so my horizontal dimension is 1.5, and then the vertical dimension is 4.720. 4.720. Alright, there we go. And now I'm going to move that. And again, I have ortho on, so it'll only move at 90 degrees. So it'll either go straight across. And again, just get a spatial orientation on that. So now all 3 bottoms are the same. And I think that'll work. I might just move them up just a little bit because I am concerned about that corner. Alright, so I selected all 3. I'm going to grab that and I'm just going to move it up. You know what? Let's turn ortho off. I didn't pick a very good place to. If the object you have selected can't reference itself when you're doing this move command, and so it becomes problematic sometimes. So there, what I did is I put a spot way out there. Okay, I like that better. Alright, now, with that being said, I have a second one of these. And so, I'm just going to copy that. And I'm just going to pick it up there. Let's turn ortho back on. And then let's throw it up here. Alright, that looks good. Okay. So now we have these 2 for the bottom, roughed out. No idea how close it's going to be, but it'll be pretty close. And then I still now have, and we have both of the big blue chargers now on there. And so now I have these last 2 chargers here, and these are kind of a pain because they actually have a bona fide cord attached to them, which I don't really like, but you know, it is what it is. So anyhow, and these are the same. Alright, so again, come down here. Get our rough dimensions. It's a little taller than it is wide, but not by much. As you can see, I'm not much of a draftsman by hand. All right, and so again, let's do our horizontal first. All right, we're looking at about 3.720. All right, so great, 3.720, and then our vertical dimension. And what I'm doing is I'm picking, and that's 4.70. I'm picking the point on this because it's tapered, right? I don't know if you can see that. It's tapered. I'm doing this backwards, so I can't really see what I'm doing. There. It's tapered from here to there. It gets wider as you go down. And so what I'm doing is I'm picking approximately where I think that this will extend through the back of the board that we're getting ready to cut. All right. And that hopefully will make a little more sense when we start putting this all together. All right, so now we've got our dimensions. So again, let's just escape out of everything, make sure we're not doing anything else. Rectangle. All right, and then I'm just going to do it over here. Dimensions 3.720 for the horizontal. And then my vertical is 4.7. Okay. And then I'm looking at these. These actually do have a bit of a radius on them. So I'm going to do that approximately where I want it to be. And actually what I'm going to do first though is I'm going to move it over here. I'm going to set it on that corner. Then I'm going to move it again. And actually I could have just pressed enter and it would have duplicated the last command. Alright. What I'll probably wind up doing is, I don't know, we'll see how this goes. Alright, so I could just go ahead and duplicate this, but instead I want to do a radius on those corners, and it's a very slight radius, but it is radiused. So I'm going to select it, and I'm going to type fillet. Alright, and so you see that it is saying, hey, okay, we want to do a fillet, we want to round the corner, right? And so the default radius on this is set to 0. It always is. I don't know why. You'd think that it would remember something else other than 0, but so I'm going to type radius and I don't know, 0.0675, 0.0675. Yeah. Specify entity. Yeah. It's going to say nothing existed. Alright, escape. Oh, you silly thing. Radius 0.0675, enter. Okay. So now radius is 0.0675. It's asked me to select the first entity. Boom, boom. Alright. And it made a very slight radius there. I might go ahead and do that to the others as well. I'm going to do it to these two. Alright. Alright, so I'm still on that same command. I just hit enter. It's going to ask for the first entity. Boom. Boom. Enter again, so it repeats that command. This is one of the idiosyncrasies, you know, in Fusion or whatever, you can select all your stuff and then fill it. In this you can't. Alright. And I'm going to go ahead and do this because it has filleted corners as well. But, you know, the strength of this program is its simpleness. Alright, let's do this one too. Yeah, that's a sign of old age when you have to get out your a spare TV to use the monitor, so you don't have to wear your glasses for everything. And you know, I still wear my glasses, so I don't know that I'm really accomplishing anything. It is easier to work on a larger screen now, and it's sure a lot easier to video. You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and do all of it. I might regret that later, but I doubt it. I think it'll be fine. I don't like having sharp corners on anything, and so. And if nothing else, if my fit is close, this will allow me to cheat just a little bit by having that rounded radius that may not be as sharp as what the actual corner is. All right, so there we go. All right, so that's our first blush at this. And so, yeah, let's go ahead and save it. And then we'll save it onto our Google Drive. I'll save as, yeah, still revision 1. And then I just set this Google Drive up because depending on what computer I was working from, yeah, let's save it there. And then if I'm going to go ahead and cut from this, I need to let me delete that out. So if I'm going to use it in the laser cutter, I need to change it to a DXF. So we can go ahead and save it as, and go into the same place, and we'll use a 2018 ASCII and save it there. All right, so now I've got 2 files on the Google Drive so I can access. Oh shoot, I didn't have you guys up there, dang it. Well, I had to edit that, but yeah. Alright, so what you didn't see is that I went ahead and I put a 0.0675 radius fillet on all of these objects. Unfortunately, I had the camera pointed down because I wasn't thinking. I gotten used to having Cindy film for me. So, but I still need to make a copy of this and move it over. And again, I'm just using, you know, what is spatially appealing. All right. And I kind of like that. And I think I need to move that all down just a little bit. So I select it, move, dang it, move, move. There we go. And then I'm just going to click right there. And because I have ortho on, it'll only move left, right, up, and down. Okay. All right. I think that's pretty good. I like it. Alright, so I need to save it again. Save. Alright. And it's not top tray, it's top tray. Good lord. Top tray. What the heck? God! I was like, I can't spell. Oh, I've got it. There we go. Top tray revision 1. Save. Let's go ahead and export that. Save it as a TXF. Oh my gosh. Yeah, 2018 ASCII. TXF save. And then I think what I want to do is go ahead and go to that Google Drive and delete that old stuff out of there. Yeah, that top trap stuff. I don't know what the heck. I'll just delete those files. Alright, so now we got a DXF file and we got a DWG file. Yeah, don't show me again. I got it. Thanks. All right. All right, so let's pull that back in. Okay, let's go to the laser cutter. All right, here we have our newly redesigned laser cutting area. Just put the material racks in yesterday. There's another marketplace find, and so got those. My 3D printer table, which is on rollers, of course, and then the laser itself. And it's a pretty good size laser. It's bigger than the one I had at the university. Probably about as good as I'm going to get. All right, so here we go. I don't need that. So this laser uses smart carve, which is a little difficult to work with sometimes. All right, so we're going to file, we're going to import, and this will be the first time that I've actually, let's see, let's go up. That'll have actually transferred something using the Google Drive. All right, top tray revision 1, that's what we want. I don't care about Windows Defender. All right, so open it up and there's nothing there. Oh, wow. Well, that is one of the downsides to this program, is that there's no rhyme or reason to what color it assigns as it opens a file. I can open the same file multiple times and it literally will change the colors. It's obviously one of the colors that I have as not visible, so let's see if we can turn one on here. Alright, so that was my panel layer. I don't want that. Alright, so it must be blue. There it is. All of a sudden, there it is. Okay, and then I have found that sometimes it will throw in an artifact, and I haven't really figured out why it does that. But before you cut something, you really got to look at it to make sure that it's doing what it's supposed to do, and that it doesn't have anything weird on it. Like I've had it where a corner of something would break off and it would be way over here, and if you're doing a very large file, you wouldn't even realize that it's there until the machine starts up and it goes to cut something way over here. So again, along with all this stuff, especially if you're using Chinese laser cutter, Chinese software, there are trade-offs, there are things that it will do, but the more you use it, the more you're able to work around that kind of stuff. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and turn you off for now. All right, folks, yeah, I went ahead. The other piece was just a little bit too close, so I went ahead and substituted a little larger piece, because I don't want to cut this twice, I don't have to. So one of the interesting side notes on this is that I have a dedicated compressor to this that was given to me. The high pressure cutoff, once it cuts off, well, it shuts off and it won't come back on for at least an hour. So I had to bypass that. And so I basically built a control box to turn on the compressor as well as turn on my vent. And so I'll actually I'll do a video on that because it has turned out to be pretty handy. So basically, turn on my vent first, turn on the compressor, and that was all built with just basic electronic components, Harbor Freight, air fittings and stuff. Right, back over to here. Get your zoom back in. Can't see that very well. There's our part, and then once I hit start, it will send it to the machine, and the machine will get going. So once I press send on this, I'll go ahead and move you guys over so you can hopefully see the laser in action. We'll see. Alright, so sure that. So really important on this, it kept saying it was done as soon as I turn it on. You notice that while blue is visible, it's not processing. So let me turn that on. And now, when we press start, it'll actually restart. Wire you see hanging off there is the laser pointer. It had stopped working before I got it, the machine. Alright, so there we go. It's a pretty good fit. I'm going to have to slim it down just a little bit. Because it's not as deep in there as I would like it to be. But you can see, nice fit. Alright, so let's go examine the other things, how they fit. Actually, I'm going to go get those and I'll come back. Alright, let's see if we did a good job on this. That's nice. Man, that's nice. Oh, yeah. As you can see, cabling is going to be something that, you know, we have to deal with. But so far, these are fitting pretty darn well. Ooh, yeah. There we go. So I could actually, these two M ones could actually be just a little bit tighter. But I'll probably wind up just putting some Velcro on the bottom of these just to make sure, and also to add a little bit of cushioning. But here, let me stick that up in there. Oh, come on now. But these are a nice press fit. So, yeah, that's pretty darn good for a first try. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna have to skinny this up just a little bit, but this is good. It is good. So, all right, so here we are. We're back at draft site, and yeah, okay, top tray revision 1. Okay, so I think I said this in a video the other day, is that offset lines does not work on the inside for whatever reason. No idea why. So I'm going to have to scale this instead. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and put those onto construction line. Yep. And then let's turn construction off so I can do this. And I'll tell you what, let's do something else. Let's turn construction back on. I am going to try, I don't know if this will make a difference or not. Whatever. This will hopefully make sense here in a second. So that's the geometric center. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and turn construction back off. Alright, and then I'm going to select that and I'm going to scale. And I'm going to pick that as my scaling point. And I'm going to do 0.98. 0.98, not comma 98. 0.98. Alright, and go. Alright, so yeah. Delete those out of there. Let's turn construction back on. Alright, let's file, save as. Yeah. Okay, and this is obviously revision 2. Can you see that? I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Revision 2. Save. And then file, save as. 2018 ASCII 2. Save. Great. And then let's go ahead and close that out. Because if you leave a file open and you leave it for a little bit, it has a tendency to crash. I don't know. It is what it is. Not great, but I do like to. Alright, folks. And there's how it's done. So, take this out of here without dropping the camera. There we go. So, I did a 98%, which was too much. So I did 99.5% of the original. And that came out almost perfect. There's a little bit of disparity here. These will fit further back in there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put double-sided tape, or yeah, I'll put double-sided tape on the back side of that, and that will be a mood issue. So anyhow, I'm going to call that a wrap for today. It's quite a bit of filming. So, yay.